Well, hello there everyone, and welcome back to Nisi Learns to Tarot, and of course I am Nisi, your hostess with the mostest. I think you guys know what I'm gonna say. Head weirdo, lead dork, and goofball extraordinaire. Oh my gosh, I'm such a freak. Oh gosh. Anyway, today's video is going to be my tarot collection, and this is just going to be the tarot decks. In another video I will do the oracle decks because this is going to be kind of a long video. I'll get the housekeeping stuff out of the way first. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. I'm a new channel here on TarotTube, so I need all the help I can get. But yes, please consider subscribing to my channel and also hit the notification bell so you can be notified of future videos. Leave a comment and tell me what you think, and of course smash down on that like button. That is very, very helpful to me. So now let's go ahead and get started. As I said, this is going to be my tarot collection. In another video I will do my oracles. This isn't going to be in any particular order. This is just sort of going to be at random, like just sort of whatever I grab. And I guess I have to do the disclaimer that, you know, this video isn't meant to be braggy or anything like that. It's just, you know, I don't know, I've been collecting these decks for quite a few years now. This didn't happen overnight, so I just thought I would share what I have here because you know, I just enjoy sharing, and yeah, so I just, you know, this is just fun for me, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so our first deck is going to be the Spirit Song Tarot deck. Okay. And I'm probably not going to say the company or anything that made these. I will say that a lot of my decks are mass market. I think I have maybe a couple of indie decks and that's about it. But most of what I have here is mass market. It's not that I dislike indie decks, because I most certainly do not. I actually think, you know, a lot of indie decks are very, very beautiful. It's just I don't have many of them, and you know, the prices can be a little high. Of course, I am about supporting, you know, smaller businesses and stuff, and you know, the struggle as an indie artist is real. But yeah, so I mean, I do plan to get more indie decks in the future. I do, but for right now, a lot of what I have is mass marketed, so just wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. Now, obviously I did keep the original box for this one. Some of my decks I did not keep the original boxes, and I have them in bags or tins, but some of the decks I still do have the boxes. So it has the nice little guidebook here. Quite a bit thicker than a little white book. It doesn't have any pictures though. It just pretty much just, you know, talks about the card meetings, but it doesn't really give any pictures of the deck or anything. So it's got quite a bit of information in here. It's a nice little guidebook. I like it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you some of the cards. So this is a pretty good sized tarot deck. Here are the backs of them. Here's the backs of them. And like I said, this is a pretty good sized deck. Very, very pretty deck though. It's kind of got like soft, hopefully you guys can see, hopefully we can see that. I should have got a darker background because my table is white and these are pretty light in color, but I won't walk through the whole deck or anything, just show you a few of the cards. But these are some real soft, kind of muted colors. It looks kind of, I don't know if ethereal is the right word, but if you're looking for, if you like a deck that is not like real brightly colored, this is a good deck. And like I said, I'm just going to show some of the cards. This is a, if you like something sort of muted and softer looking, you know, this is a good deck. It's not just so brightly colored and in your face, and it's very, very pretty. So you know, it just depends on what aesthetic you like and what you're sort of in the mood for at the time. I do look forward to getting to know this deck a little better. It's just, I don't know, it's just real soft and pretty, and yeah. So there is this one. And I think I got this one a couple years ago. Next deck is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. And this is by Kim Kranz, I think is her name. And I'm thinking it did come with a big guidebook. I don't have any guidebook in the box, but I think it came with a real big one. And my bigger guidebooks are on my shelf, which I'll have to show you guys, you know, probably a little bit later on in the video. Here's the backs of these cards. And this deck isn't a tarot deck. I should have put this in with my oracles, because this is more of an oracle deck. But this is, here are the cards for this deck, and it has the animal names on these. For this deck, I mean, I feel like you're definitely going to have to consult the guidebook, because otherwise you may have a hard time reading these cards. But it's got it's got the animals with their names on the bottoms of the cards. And this cardstock, oh, I'm not really a big fan of this cardstock. I feel like it kind of bends a little bit too easily. It's sort of like bent, you know, with all my riffle shuffling. I have riffle shuffled this one quite a bit, and you can do that pretty easily with this cardstock, and it will also shuffle overhand pretty nicely. But this deck, I feel like it has a bit of a learning curve, and you are going to have to look at the guidebook, I think, quite a bit to get used to this deck. So this is pretty interesting. I think, now, I don't know, it seems like I've heard a lot of people say in their videos, because like I knew about this deck from watching YouTube videos, and it just seems like it's sort of like hit or miss. Like it's either hit or miss. Like a lot of people either really love it, or they just can't seem to get on well with it. It's one of those decks that it's either you really love it, or you know, you don't. And it's just, I feel like this is a deck that it's going to take a bit of learning with to kind of get to know a little bit. Okay, our next deck is the New Paladin Tarot. Okay. And this is just in one of those, like, top loading boxes, tuck boxes. I think they call it a tuck box. But it's one of those, like, top loading deals. Sorry, I was hearing something in the other room, and that was my dogs wandering around. But it does have a little white book that comes with it. And here are the cards. Whoops. Okay, so it has an extra card that tells you what the deck is, and then it's got a little blurb, I think, about the author. Would I say Paladin? No, this is Palladini. Ugh, I never can say this right. New Palladini deck, and I think the author's name is David Palladini. I was trying to look at it on the box. I saw this again. Okay, here's the back of the cards. They are reversible. And again, this is one I saw, I think, on someone's YouTube channel, and this deck looked pretty intriguing to me, so I decided to pick it up. Now, I have really not done much with this deck, so it's one that I really just, like I said, I just haven't really done much with this deck. So it does have borders, and I mean, not too bad of ones. It's, you know, they're pretty small, but I know a lot of you guys don't like borders on your cards, and I'm not one to mod my cards. I leave them as is, because number one, I'm just afraid of messing them up, and number two, I don't know, I have this thing about not wanting to mess with the natural, I guess, integrity of the cards. So I just leave it as is, and yeah. I figure if I'm going to pretty them up, it's, you know, it would be with like a nice bag or cloth or something to put them in. So yeah, I leave my cards as is, but yeah. So I haven't really done much with this deck, so I can't tell you. I mean, the artwork is different, isn't it? But I need to, I need to work more with this deck to kind of get to know the flavor, the vibe it kind of has, but it's definitely different. I don't know how to describe this one. It's just one that I'm gonna have to kind of mess with a little bit more and go from there. But it is a real interesting looking deck, and I remember it just. I'm like, yeah, this is one that's going to be going into my collection, and it did. And a lot of these decks I did get off of Amazon. I think the biggest majority of them I did. Maybe I got a couple of them from Barnes & Noble, but most of these are from Amazon. And I'm not going to put links to every single one of them because that will take me an age. But I will put as much as I can in my influencer store. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you buy anything through my influencer store or through any links I provide, I just get a tiny, tiny little commission back, which, at no extra cost to the purchaser. So at no extra cost to you, but I will get a little bit of a tiny, tiny little bit of a commission back. Okay, so our next one, I'm opening the box without even telling you guys what this deck is. Oh my goodness. This is the Sacred Rose Tarot. And there's what that box looks like. And this deck is super pretty. This is a really, really, really pretty deck. And again, it's one of those top-loading boxes. And this does have a little book, little white book to go with it. Pretty standard as little white books go. So... and then this one also has a little blurb about the artist. I think this is a US Games deck, and I think a lot of these US Games decks have these little sort of intro cards and then the little blurb about the artist. Here are the backs of these. It's really pretty. I really like the little roses on them. I mean, that's just so pretty. They're not reversible, like these cards aren't reversible, but that's okay. It's a pretty deck. This is a really, really pretty deck. I don't know, it reminds me of just going out into a garden and just a flower garden and just relaxing, and it's really pretty. Look at that. Just really, really pretty. And the names of the cards are on the bottoms of them. It does have a little bit of a border, as you can see, but this is a real pretty, just soft deck. It has more color to it than the first one I showed you, the Spirit Song Tarot. It has more, it is more colorful, but it's still not like just in your face. It's just real, I don't know, it's softer, but it's not, just, it's got color to it, but it's not like, it doesn't scream at you, if you know what I mean. It's not a deck that'll just kind of scream brightness at you, but it's really pretty. Such a pretty, pretty, pretty deck. This just, I don't know, this just gives me just sort of a relaxing kind of vibe, when I mess with this deck. But just really gorgeous cards, just really pretty. Okay, so there's that one. The Sacred Rose Tarot, and again, there's the backs of them. Okay, this is the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, and I think we have all seen this. It speaks for itself, Rider-Waite, but it is definitely brightly colored. Here is the little white book that goes with it, of course. And here are the backs of these. Really, really pretty kind of dark blue kind of Looks like a night sky, doesn't it? Dark blue with, it looks like just a bunch of stars there on the back. And pardon the band-aid on my hand. I had a breakout, I don't know, like last week, and oh, it just itched like hell, and oh man, oh yeah, it wasn't looking so good. So I figured I better put a band-aid on it so I don't gross you guys out. But yeah, it looks not so great. So yeah, hence the band-aid. But yeah, this is really just, oops, you know what, here is the, oh my goodness, here is the sort of intro card that goes with it. I must have shuffled it right along inside the deck. Oh my goodness. But this is pretty brightly colored, like it's real, just, I mean, it's lighter weight, definitely, but I feel like it, and I do have some reversals in here, I feel like they've, you know, brightened it up quite a bit, like the people that sort of revamped this deck or whatever. I mean, it is the original artwork, but I just feel like it's been brightened up a little bit color-wise. Oops. Woo! Yeah. Our Nine of Swords. Holy cow. That flew out at me. Okay, deck, are you trying to tell me something here? But yeah, I feel like that they brightened up these colors a lot from just, you know, from the original. So if you want something that's a bit brighter, like but you like your kind of standard Rider Waite deck, but you just want something a little brighter, this is nice. This is nice, and the cardstock is pretty nice. It's a pretty good sized deck. And I pretty much just shuffle it like this. It shuffles actually very, very easily. Yeah, very, very easily. So I like this deck. I really like the brightening up. Like I feel like it got a makeover. And then I like the backs of them. It just looks like a night sky to me. So yeah, our Radiant Rider Waite deck. The Star Spinner Tarot. And this one has a magnetic closure. There's what the bottom of it looks like. And I like these boxes. It's got a ribbon in here to kind of help you get the deck out of the box. Okay, so, and this one has a pretty nice little guidebook in there. Pretty nice little guidebook. I like this one. I do. I like this one. The pictures are in black and white, but it's still very informative. You know, got a lot of information in there. The minors kind of have just one page per card, but with the majors you get the photo and then you get the meaning and stuff, the information about the card on the left hand side of the page. So very, very nice little guidebook for that one. And then the deck, whoops, the deck looks like this. Here's the backs of them. The cards are reversible. The deck is reversible that way. Okay. And this is, let me see here, move that over here. And this is a real soft looking deck. It's got quite a bit of color in it, but again, it's just not, it's not one of those that just kind of scream at you, you know, in terms of just being real bright like on the eyes. I mean, this is real easy on the eyes. Yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. I really like this deck a lot. And the cardstock isn't bad either. Alright, sorry about that, guys. My camera shuts off on me after a certain amount of time, and I was just talking and talking and didn't realize I wasn't even recording. But as I was saying, the cardstock isn't bad. It's pretty, it's one of these cardstocks that the cards kind of will stick together a little bit, but I think maybe the more you play with this deck. You might be able to loosen them up. It's one of those decks that I just haven't really messed with too much. I mean, I've had it. It's one that I've had for a while, but I definitely need to work with a bit more. You can riffle it, but it's tricky. Just because the cardstock is a bit thicker, and it's, it is a bit thicker, and but it's, to get it to shuffle like this, you're going to have to kind of play with them a little bit. But it is a very, very pretty deck. I like this deck, and it's one that I am going to have to work with a bit more, because it's just very pretty, like I said. Just very nice. And I think I was saying that most of my decks came from Amazon. I did get a few from Barnes & Noble, but yeah, most of my decks come from Amazon that I got. And I get my, I get them like after I've seen a few walkthroughs and reviews of a deck. So yeah, there's the book that came with it. So the Star Spinner Tarot, very, very pretty little, well, it's not that little. I was going to say little deck, but it's not that little. Very, very nice deck. And I like the boxes that have the magnetic flap on them. They're just, I don't know, it's just a very nice presentation. Okay, our next deck is the Golden Girls Tarot. And this is one of those just sort of fun, kind of novelty, sort of based on a TV show deck. I loved the Golden Girls. I still do, actually. So sad that they're all gone now. But I remember just, when this show was on, we watched this all the time. And, they'd have the reruns of the show on TV, and we'd watch them quite a bit. And I have the episodes on Prime Video, and so when I get nostalgic, I love to just go in and watch them, and I can still just watch those episodes and just laugh my ass off. I'm telling you, I mean, they are just funny. And yeah, that was when TV was good, But anyway, here's the backs of them. Now, there's no guidebook in the box. I think I have a bigger guidebook, which is on my shelf, and later in the video, I'll have to show you all my guidebooks and stuff that came with my decks. But yeah, here's the backs of these cards. And so being that it is a Golden Girls deck, it's going to feature the ladies, that were in the show. Blanche, Rose, Dorothy, and oh gosh, I keep wanting to call her Estelle, which is actually the actress's real name. Estelle Getty, I think, was her name. But on the show, she was Sophia. Her character was Sophia. But I still keep wanting to call her Estelle. But, that was actually her real name. But yeah, so sad that all the ladies are gone now. Oh my goodness. But I'm not going to walk through the whole deck. Now, if there's any decks that anybody wants to see a walkthrough of, I will be glad to do it. But yeah. Yeah, this is just such a fun deck. Just really brings back so many memories, and it makes me smile. It does, because oh my gosh, look at that. I enjoyed that show, still do, and it's just such a fun show, fun deck. So many good memories. Just love it. Just such a fun deck. And it does shuffle pretty easily. It's a pretty good sized deck. And it will riffle. You can riffle it. I try not to do that too many times because I don't want to bend up my cards. I can never shuffle a deck without bending up my cards. So I have to kind of be careful how I do that. But overhanding shuffle, overhanding them like this, they will definitely shuffle very nicely like that. Yep, so very, very nice. Our Golden Girls, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I love it. Now, I don't know if this deck is even still available anymore. It just seems like a lot of the based on TV show decks, they go out of print at some point, fairly quickly, and then they can be hard to find. And I don't know if they ever do reprinting of them or not. I don't know. So it just seems like they kind of come and go like real fast. Oops, they come and go real fast, it seems. And they can be a little hard to find after a fashion. So it's kind of one of these decks that if you see it, you want it, you might want to grab it. You know, especially if you love the series, you know, it was based on, because you may not be able to find it elsewhere, or you may not be able to find it for long afterward. But I'm really, really glad I picked this deck up. I mean, a fun deck. I love it. I like it. Like it. So if you want kind of a different sort of vibe for your reading and just something real fun, that's definitely one to look for if it's still even around. Okay, this deck is the Fountain Tarot. And this one is a really, really, really beautiful deck. Here's the bottom of the box, and it's got a magnetic flap. And it has a really, really nice guidebook to go with it. Okay, so really nice guidebook to go with it. Doesn't have too many images. I mean, you get some spread ideas. But it's got a lot of nice information in there. And I think this was an indie deck. Like, I don't know how many of these decks were indie decks before they became mass market, you know, before it was put out for mass market. But this might have been one of those indie decks at first, you know, before it was ever done mass marketed wise. But yeah, here's the inside of the box. That's cool. Alright, so this deck, onward with the cards, huh? Look at that beautiful silver edging on these. Just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Here's the back of the cards. And let's look at some of the image work. Okay, this one, oh my gosh. I always want to keep shuffling like the intro card right in there with the entire deck, and I gotta remember not to do that. But it does have the names of the cards on the bottom, as you can see, and I like that it does. Both majors and minors have that, it seems. Yeah, we'll look at a few more of these, but I mean, just really, really pretty. Oh, that one got reversed. So this looks like this was done in a watercolor type style. I mean, this is just really, really beautiful deck. Whoops. Really beautiful deck. Look at a few more of the cards. Really gorgeous. Oh, that one got reversed. Looks like I had a few reversals in this deck. So when I'm going through a deck, and if I find reversals, I'll kind of put them right side up. I mean, I will read reversals. I know some people don't, but I tend to do reversals because it just, I don't know, it just adds another layer of being, you know, interesting. But yeah, here's some of the cards. And I think many of you are probably familiar with this deck because this seems to be one that a lot of folks tend to have. But very beautiful deck. Very, very beautiful deck. Really like this deck. And the cardstock isn't bad at all. It's pretty nice cardstock. I'm not sure how well it'll riffle. I haven't done that in a while, and it's kind of thicker. It'll do it, but it's a little tougher. And again, of course, it has that edging, and I don't want to ruin the edging, but it will overhand very nicely. It'll do that. So, I'm not a very good shuffler, but yeah. I tend to go kind of slow with them because otherwise, you know, you talk about having flyers that come out at you, and you know, when a flyer comes out at you, why, you know, you want to pay attention to it, of course, and that. But if I tend to shuffle like real fast, they all come flying out at me. It's like, ah! Okay, there is the beautiful Fountain Tarot. Our next deck is the Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial deck. And again, yep, another actual Rider-Waite Smith deck. I have a few of these. As you saw, I did show the Radiant version, but this one is the Centennial version. So the artwork is this, there's a little white book that comes with it. The artwork is, of course, the original artwork, but it's just colored a little bit differently. And there's the backs of the cards. And I'm sure this is a deck that many of us do have. And so here's, ooh, our Nine of Swords. Ah! Our 9 and our 9 and our 10 of Swords. Oh my goodness. Wow. I kid you not, guys. Like, whew, right next to each other there. But yeah, this is a deck that I haven't really messed with a whole lot. I mean, I've studied it. I've looked at it, of course, you know, which I think the actual Rider-Waite decks, the Rider-Waite Smith decks are probably the standard to go to, like when you're actually learning, because this is the deck that most people are familiar with, you know, this artwork, this classic artwork. But you can see the differences between this deck and the Radiant version. It's just same artwork, but just, you know, kind of colored a little differently. Oh my gosh. There is our Sun card. So, yeah. Don't need to show too many of the cards because, you know, we get the idea. We all know what Rider-Waite Smith decks look like. The cardstock is actually pretty nice. I actually do like this cardstock quite a bit. It'll riffle, but it's tougher to do because it's thicker cardstock. So if you have, I don't know, I have small hands, so it's a little bit, some of these decks are a little bit harder to riffle. You can overhand it very nicely though, like so. Yeah, you can overhand it pretty nicely. Yeah, so there is our Centennial Rider-Waite Smith. Okay, this one is the Wild Unknown Tarot. I did show the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit. That was an Oracle. I should have kept that with the Oracle decks, but I think I had it together just because of the same artist. This, of course, is by Kim Krans. And it didn't have the guidebook in the box, but I think it did come with a big guidebook. Here's the backs of these cards. Kind of an interesting pattern. Kind of looks like leopard. And this deck, I've heard people say that there is a learning curve with this deck, that it either resonates with you or it does not. It's kind of one of those decks that it's like either you know, either or maybe, you know. But it's this, to be honest, have not really worked with this deck very much at all, because I feel like it's got a bit of a steep learning curve with this one. I mean, the artwork is so different. It's such a different vibe. Such a different vibe, but I've heard a lot of people say they really, really love this deck, and then a lot of people say that they wanted to love it but just can't. The cardstock is quite thin, really. It will riffle. You can riffle it. You can riffle it pretty easily. Yeah. You can riffle it pretty easily, like so. And it'll also overhand quite nicely. But yeah, it's one of those decks that you either really love or it's one that you want to love but you can't. I've heard a lot of people say that. So again, this is a deck that I think I'm going to have to do an actually fully fledged study on, because it's got a bit of a quirkiness to it, and it's one that you're just gonna have to really spend a lot of time with to get to know, I think. It's a steep learning curve. But I'm glad I have it in my collection, you know, nonetheless. Now this deck is a bit different. You're going to see that the shape of this deck is very different. This is going to be a circular deck, and this is Tarot of the Cloisters. Tarot of the Cloisters. And I thought this was just such a unique deck. This is just such a unique looking deck that I had to get it. I did. I had to get it just because it is so unique. It does have a little itty bitty, itty bitty little white book to go with it. Very tiny. Ooh, very tiny. You need a microscope to read that thing, I'm telling you. Seriously, you need a microscope to read that thing. Here's the backs of these cards. There's the backs of them. And then here's what some of these cards look like. So, I mean, it's a cute little deck. It's cute. It's adorable, you know. It's adorable. Well, the circle shape is adorable. I've not seen, there's not too many circular decks like this. This is very different, but the art style on it is, I mean, it's a pretty little deck. It is. It's a very pretty little deck. It's not one that you're going to be able to riffle. At least I can't. I cannot, so I overhand it as much as I can. It takes a little bit of doing, you know, because it is a circular deck, and yeah, it'll go everywhere if you don't watch it. It'll go everywhere if you don't watch what you're doing, because it tends to, yeah, so you kind of have to watch what you're doing with this one. Otherwise, you're going to have cards are gonna roll. Cards are gonna roll. Woohoo! Yeah, it's gonna roll. Yeah, they're gonna roll. You know, being circular, they're gonna go every which way. So, Tarot of the Cloisters, very cute little deck. I just have to kind of smile at that one. It's so unique. It's just so very unique. I couldn't resist myself. I had to get that one. I've had this one for a little bit. Now again, I really can't tell you which decks are still in print, which ones are not. I'm sure a lot of them still are, but I can't tell you which ones are and which ones aren't without looking them up, because I just don't know. Okay, our next deck is the Modern Witch Tarot. And it comes open like this. Now this is a beautiful deck. This is a beautiful deck. It's got the little papers and stuff on top of it to kind of keep it together. But I'll show you, oops. I'll show you this deck. So it has, whoops. It has a nice little hardcover book to go with it. Look at the insides of that. That is really pretty. And I think there's different products that go with this deck. I think there's an Oracle deck that's in the series too, and I think there's a coloring book. And I think there might be a couple of other items in this series. But yeah, very, very pretty little book. Very nice book. And so this deck, this might be a US Games deck, I'm not sure. Here is, you got like a little blurb about the artist and the deck and kind of how to use it and stuff. Here is the intro card for it. Here's the backs of this deck. It's reversible. The deck is reversible that way. The cardstock is pretty slippery, but it's a thick cardstock. It is a thick cardstock. And I think this is a deck that I think a lot of people probably have, but this is a beautiful deck. I like this deck. Like this deck a lot. And I also like that the names of the cards are on each one of them on the bottom. But yeah, this deck is a bit slippery. It is a bit slippery. I'm not gonna lie. And again, like I said, if there's any decks that anybody wants me to do a walkthrough on, I can do that. Yeah, so because it's a thicker cardstock, and my hands are too small, I'm not going to be able to riffle it, really. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to riffle it. I think I tried one time, and yeah, see, it's pretty thick. There's no way I'm going to be able to riffle shuffle this one, but it will overhand. It will overhand, so you can do it that way quite easily, really. But just, you know, make sure you get a good grip on them, because they are slippery and they will come flying right out of your hands. Yes, they will indeed. Okay guys, sorry for the little change in scenery here, but I think it's best if I break this video up into probably a few different parts, because this is really getting to be quite long. It's actually quite longer than I expected it to be. So I figured, so we're not going to be here until Doomsday, that it'd be better off if I split it into several parts. So this is part 1, and part 2 is going to be coming up very soon, so please stay tuned for that.